Errol Spence Jr. will make his return to the boxing ring after nearly a year layoff due to a near-fatal car crash. He will defend his title against one of the best welterweights in the world in Danny Garcia. And with that, we welcome in the great Errol Spence Jr. to First Take. Errol, you know what they say, you can't have a comeback if you don't have a setback. I know it's been a crazy past year for you.
For me, just staying focused, training, losing the weight, and just being 100% on point. I think me and my coach been working since probably July. So, we've been grinding, working hard, trying to get back, staying 100% focused. I'm 100% ready for December 5th, Saturday night.
Errol, thank you for being on the show. First of all, I want to say I'm thankful and I'm grateful that you're okay, because that was a nasty-looking car crash that you got yourself into, and we understand the trouble that came from that. I want to know what your health situation is like, because, to me, I know you walked away, you had a bloody eye and some scars on your face, but that seemed to be all. My first thing is, how healthy are you?
I'm 100% healthy. Like I said, I went to the clinic and they got checked out and went to the hospital. They did all type of exams on me and MRIs and everything. They didn't see any brain swelling or anything. Had me do reaction tests and everything. And I passed them with flying colors. So they gave me the cue to continue boxing. So that's the first thing was my health, to make sure I was good and everything checked out straight. I was going to the gym, I was training. Then I started sparring in September. I started sparring in September. I looked great. And, then we got a fight lined up with Danny Garcia. So everything been going, pretty much as scheduled. It was just a blessing that, I'm able to continue my career so early and, come back so early, a little less over than a year.
For those mainstream sports fans who don't know, Errol Spence is considered one of the real special fighters in boxing. Tall, rangy, a southpaw, can beat you with his jab and defense. Ask Mikey Garcia, but doesn't look to do that, looks to punish the opponent, knockout power. You have it all. You're a complete fighter, Errol. But Danny Garcia, is also a very good fighter.
Yes, he is.
He has one close loss, very close loss to Keith Thurman, one wider loss to Sean Porter, but Sean Porter gave you everything you wanted. That was a fight of the year type fight. I thought you won because of the knockdown late, which he got up from, but that was nip and tuck the whole way. How do you plan, after this kind of accident, coming back from that, to actually beat Danny Garcia? What's the game plan?
Well, first of all, I thought, I could have beat Sean Porter easy on the outside like I did Mikey Garcia. But, my whole game plan was a Sean Porter fight, even sitting in training camp. I wanted to fight. I wanted to show people that I can beat him on the inside, so that's what I did. Even with Mikey Garcia, I want to show people that I can box, because people said that he had better boxing IQ than me, so I showed people I can box. And with this fight, I'm just going to show everybody that, I'm just all around just a better fighter. On the inside, outside, with the jab, combination, hooks, whatever you want to do in the ring, I could do better than Danny Garcia. He's a great fighter, iron chin, very tough. But I don't think, even if I was at 70%, Danny Garcia couldn't beat me.
It's interesting that you say that. Listen, I like Danny Garcia a lot. He's 36-2. His only two losses were to Keith Thurman and to Sean Porter, just like Max pointed out. But I had you as my top pound for pound, top 2 pound for pound in the world. But Terrence Crawford has ascended, and I know you're not looking ahead because you're smart enough not to look past anybody, and you got to handle your business first. But there are a lot of people, Max included, I don't think I'm stepping out of turn speaking for him here, when we talk about a fight that we desperately want. It is Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford.
Number one fight
and you got Terrence Crawford talking about everybody running from him. Nobody want to give him those fights. What do you have to say about that?
Really nothing to say about it. Nobody running from Terrence Crawford. Like I said, I'm coming off a car accident and I had to fight Danny Garcia. Somebody would have picked the tune up, but I'm fighting Danny Garcia. So, I got to get past him to even think about somebody else. So, once I get past Danny Garcia, y'all can ask me questions about Terrence Crawford.
I mean, we get it now. We could get it at Christmas. I mean, who knows? But when you look at the way the NFL has handled this, I don't necessarily know if you can critique it. I don't necessarily know if you can be critical of it, because it seems that they're trying to keep people safe, that they're trying to keep COVID-19 contained. And if that's their goal, if that's what they're focused on, then that's the right goal. Then that's the right way to move forward. And when you look at what's going on for the Baltimore Ravens, it's been positive test after positive test, even up until yesterday, where even people like Dan Graziano are saying that there are Baltimore Ravens who weren't necessarily comfortable with traveling. And so the NFL has to find a way to play this game eventually. But the fact that it's been postponed in hopes of having the most healthy and safe environment for their players is the right thing to do. And so if you got to watch football at Wednesday, at least Central Time at 2:40, then that's what you do. You sit in front of your TV, you grab some popcorn, and you watch it.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests join us here on the Shell Performance Line. Hey, RC, do you think the Steelers are kind of like getting the bad end in this situation?
Well, I mean, it seems that way, obviously, because most of the things are going on in Baltimore. Also, you saw what happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers earlier this year in Tennessee. I mean, it's just with Tennessee, it's just the luck of the draw, man. Like, it just happens to be the Pittsburgh Steeler week, and you have to deal with it. When you look at the way the CBA was set in place, when you look at the protocols that were put in place and the requirements that were put in place for COVID-19, this is part of it. You are subject to it, even if it's not running rampant in your building. And that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers are dealing with. I do find it, I don't know if ironic is the right word, that, you know, the Pittsburgh Steelers were tweeting and they were all upset about people not doing the right thing. And then the one Pittsburgh Steeler that you want to get COVID-19 the least, James Conner, test positive. And so I think that we all have to be extremely sympathetic. We all have to be extremely understanding about what's going on with people. And yes, they had a strength coach who was doing stupid stuff. And I feel like he should be punished, and the Baltimore Ravens should be punished. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have to know that they're doing what is in the best interest of the health and safety of the players as it pertains to COVID-19. So continue to get ready, continue to push your schedule. Mike Tomlin, continue to preach, as you always do, about winning the game at hand, and that's the way you move forward.
I feel like Pittsburgh hadn't played in like a month, even though they've played here recently.
It feels like it.
It certainly feels that way, RC. Let me ask you this. How do you think they're going to play? I was almost said tonight, because I'm thinking at night. But how do you think they're going to play this afternoon at 3:40, I think it is?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll play well. I think the one thing that Coach Tomlin always does is helps you understand the moment. It helps to me that it's the Baltimore Ravens, though, that it's a team that you don't really like anyway. It's a team that you respect, but you don't have this admiration for them in the sense of a team that you care about. Like people in the Steelers building, although it's a brotherhood and they want people to be safe from COVID, they don't care that the Baltimore Ravens have those problems. They're probably happy that they do, and they want to make them more miserable. They want to add to that, and that's going to be the talk going around the building, and it's going to be about domination. Keyshawn, you know how it is, man. When sharks see blood in the water, they attack, and there's blood in the water in Baltimore. They weren't playing well before you lose Lamar Jackson to COVID, and now you have these things happen. You push the game back. They're going to want to make the Baltimore Ravens pay for everything that they feel the Baltimore Ravens have put on them, and we'll see that on the grass at 3:40.
RC, give me the real talk like you give it to me when we're at the DoubleTree, all those old school days. What the hell is going on in Philadelphia with the quarterback situation, man?
Bro, Doug Peterson doesn't know, Jay. I can promise you he doesn't know. I can promise you Doug Peterson didn't have a plan for this. The only person in the world that's as close to a bigger fan of Carson Wentz as Doug Peterson is Dan Orlovsky. That's the two people in the world that you would not have been able to convince that Carson Wentz would play this way. I don't think Doug Peterson was all on board with the Jalen Hurts draft. And so now he has a guy who he thought would be great, a guy who finished looking like an MVP last year with backups, and you have a backup quarterback that you draft in the second round that you don't necessarily think could play quarterback right now. And so now that you heard him early on in the season, right? If we go to Jalen Hurts, that means we're giving up on the season. If you bench Carson, he never thought Carson would continue to play this bad. And so when you hear him talk this week and he's like, well, you wish that Jalen could get some reps and get some continuity, and then it's because he don't know, y'all. He is at a point where he has no idea how to fix what's going on with Carson Wentz, but he also knows he's stuck with Wentz for at least 2 years, and if Wentz doesn't work, he's fired, and he still doesn't believe in Jalen Hurts enough to say if I put him in the game, he could save me. The dude has no way to go, man. He's in between a rock and a hard place, and that hard place is going to get him fired because he needs to figure this out.
Let me ask you this real quick, though, Ryan. Is Doug the right man for this particular job? Because I've always said when a coach takes over for a team in his first year, it's always a honeymoon, magical. But over time, they take on the personality of the coach, and you can kind of see what that coach is. Is he the right guy? I know he won a Super Bowl, but is he the right guy? Yeah, see, and you see the key, that's the hard part, right? It's hard to say that a dude that won the Super Bowl isn't the right guy for the team. What it seems is, though, that Doug Peterson isn't the right guy for this team. He was the right guy to have a young Carson Wentz and have a Nick Foles on the bench, but he isn't the guy that's continued to morph as this team has changed. He hasn't adapted to the new rendition of the Philadelphia Eagles, to the team that now is going to be cap heavy, to a team that now has a quarterback who takes up a lot of the salary cap. And so I don't know if Doug Peterson is right for this team. I know in this moment, he doesn't seem to be the coach to get them out of where they are right now. And that's something they're going to have to look at in the offseason.
That's a fair point, because at the end of the day, Howie Roseman, the executive vice president, essentially drafted Jalen Hurts because of Carson Wentz's injury history, not his history of playing terribly. That came after the pick, not before. They're between a rock and a hard place here for sure. Rye, thanks so much and enjoy Wednesday.